call. I'm going to shift gears just a bit, and let me start by saying that we think at Intel that the TPP offers some really important tools that level the playing field for American businesses in some of the fastest growing markets in the world. In the way of background, Intel does about 3/4 of our advanced manufacturing and R&D in the United States, yet we derive about 80% of our revenue elsewhere in the world. This make here, sell there dynamic is only viable through robust trade. And it's not just Intel that depends on a healthy global marketplace. We have 50,000 US-based employees, and our US operation supports more than 700,000 American jobs and 7,000 suppliers in 46 states, many of which are small to medium-sized businesses. As a US technology manufacturer, we expect some important benefits out of a successful implementation of TPP. A few in the way of tariff reductions, but many, many more in the form of global standards for doing business. Standards that support the future of our digital economy. So I wanted to focus just on a few of the highlights that we have pulled out of the agreement. Some we talked about already this morning with Mr. Andrews. I want to talk about IP, cross-border data flow, forced localization, commercial encryption, and state-owned enterprises. I start with intellectual property because I can't underscore enough the importance of IP protection to our industry and the incentive that it provides for investment of billions of dollars in R&D in the US. TPP addresses some of our IP concerns in an important region of the world. Specifically, TPP forces countries to criminalize the theft of trade secrets. Deputy Secretary Andrews talked about the changing face of manufacturing in America, and I really appreciate that comment because our manufacturing floor looks more like something out of Star Wars than what you would see in, what you think of it as old manufacturing. Our processes in our manufacturing operations are trade secrets. This is a key driver of our competitive advantage. And so the inclusion of trade secrets in this agreement is a huge step forward. Second, we talked a little bit about cross-border data flow. I just want to underscore that. The digital freedom and free flow of information is what is the foundation of our global economy. New businesses, large businesses, if we're going to extend services over the internet and have access to world markets, we need to have the free flow of data. Also, TPP addresses something that we're seeing as a troubling trend, country by country forced localization policies. Governments around the world are seeking to create domestic innovative industries, and they're creating these forced localization initiatives to do that. And while I would never fault a government for trying to create their own innovation economy, doing it through forced localization picks national champions and distorts competition. These localization measures include requiring R&D, intellectual property, and manufacturing in the country as a condition of market access. And that's just an impossible barrier for a company like Intel that does the majority of our manufacturing and R&D here in the United States. TPP bans many forms of forced localization. It also sends a message to many of these other countries, we've talked about a few this morning also, that are pursuing anti-competitive policies. Next, there's been a lot of discussion lately about commercial encryption. Encryption technology is in almost every electronics you own, from cell phones to computers to remote-controlled toys. TPP calls for the deregulation of encryption in mass market products, which is important for the technology industry and our desire to hold on to proprietary information and not have state control over the use of encryption in consumer products. An example of how TPP is going to make a difference here is a law we just saw passed in Vietnam. That is a network information security law calling for registration of products with cryptography, and it allows authorities to call for passwords. This is in direct conflict with the rules set out in TPP, and it's the type of law that we're going to see move forward if we don't ratify TPP. Lastly, on state-owned enterprises, our position is that state-owned enterprises, through the various support they get from governments, have an unfair advantage. And we understand that this is a big lift for many of the countries that are participating in TPP. They have thousands of state-owned enterprises to address. So it's just another example of TPP moving forward in a way that past agreements have not. So I'll just wrap up. The connective tissue here is that we're bringing other countries up to our standards and our expectations. The future of American business depends on a stable digital economy. The international community is looking to us to see what our Congress does with TPP. It'll take our U.S. Congress passing TPP to get these countries to dig in to their state-owned enterprises and their encryption laws and their labor and environment standards. There's a lot of tough work to be done as we move to implementation, but our Congress has a role to play. And I just want to be on the record as saying we'd like to see this passed as quickly as we can in a way that ensures we can move forward with the TPP and the benefits that Intel and other American manufacturers expect to see. Thank you.